Hey, Twin Cities, welcome to New Spaces and our Minnetonka project on Plattwood Road here. I brought with me today our longest tenured, our production manager, lead carpenter, who's spent over 40 years in this industry, almost 30 years with New Spaces. This project is one of Ed's, in my opinion, signature creations. And we all know that these things don't happen overnight. It requires an entire team. Ed did some things here that we get into in these main level renovations that I would like him to kind of talk about the challenges and solutions from your perspective and your team's perspective as we build them. Tell us a little bit, Ed, on the kind of the structural and systems that I know that you went through here. Give us a little bit of an overview.
Yeah, absolutely. As most people know, that designs now are open plans, open floor space. Everybody wants more room. They want to be able to look out their front and back windows and stuff like that. So in this situation, we opened up an area, a wall, which required engineering to obviously support second floor. The challenges that come in with opening up walls, obviously, is our infrastructure that we have to move. We have to move HVAC, we have to move wiring. We run into plumbing. So one of the biggest challenges is rerouting all of that, of course, as we all know, and finding space. Now you have no more interior walls to go through. That and incorporating point loads going down to the basement. Obviously, we're in a finished basement in this situation, so we're pulling carpet back. At that point, they wanted to eliminate a closet down there. At that point, we have to open it up. And so there was a little design on the fly changes there also. But getting that opened up to get that concrete pad for that point load down there. Another challenge here was, which I think is a really unique concept that we ran into from the first of all, was bringing the countertop straight up to the window with no backsplash on there, which requires us at that point at rough-in, you're setting windows, you have to have those windows set at the exact height. So, which when it's all finished and said, the details just pop.
Craftsmanship, and I think that important detail with the window. Right now we're dealing with a Marvin Essential Line window package, which is in all fiberglass. So in Ed's and our design team's vision, that countertop runs directly into the window. The other thing that it reminded me as you were talking about what we did, because Amy had 3 phases, right? We had the main level, we had a master suite, that's a future project we had to think about, and we had basement as a phase 3. And right behind that beverage bar, you see that wall section has been framed out. To give you a picture of how our production team and our design team worked together, they knew that the infrastructure had to be brought to the second floor. So they framed out a wall section that frames this opening perfectly, and that is where HVAC, plumbing, and all the things, electrical, the things that we need to get to second floor and to the lower level were housed. If you look at the floor plan, you would not see that. The thought and the deliberation that goes through our design team, production team, as they're preparing a floor plan to be transformed. So you had probably every carpenter on our team were part of this project in some shape or form.
I think in one shape or form we did have,
And ran several shifts, like in New Spaces model, the way Ed, who oversees all of our projects, all of our lead carpenters, he really has to have a grasp on what everybody's doing in different phases of the project. And we work on 15 projects in production at any given time of the year.
Yep, we're keeping busy. We're rolling right now, 15, 16 projects running concurrently. One advantage I have as a production manager is I have 25 years experience as a lead carpenter. So that gives me a lot of hands-on knowledge on that end of the field to be able to keep things running smoothly.
And that experience level that everybody may not think about is that we work on turn-of-the-century homes, 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on, all the way to new homes today. And for you to have a team who's well-versed in the architecture and building science of each of these eras. We don't just work on newer homes or older homes. So in your team, you have to have that skill set of carpenters who are able to work on every age of home that you can imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. And our goal is these period homes, and we go into a home whether it's built in 1890. And like I like to tell our clients, when we leave, we want this to still look like that period-looking home with the modern amenities in there. And it's really to take some of that, the old trim work that just amazes me at times that they did back then without the resources we have now, and the challenge we have to mimic it. It's just, I'm very impressed with the craftsmanship back then. But then impressed with our group of carpenters when it's all said and done, and it's like, holy cow, it just looks almost the same trim work and finish work as as the original. So.
The period appropriateness, which Ed is referring to, is that when we take a 1920s, 30s building through the renovation process, all the details in terms of moldings, the window details, the actual doors, the millwork, all of those things, they have to all speak the same language. So on behalf of all of us here as New Spaces, Ed, congratulations on this Minnetonka project. This is a National Design Award winning project, which means we're best in nation in our category. And that doesn't happen by mistake. You got to plan for it. In addition, of course, to all of the construction details that we have to be mindful of as we shape and transform homes, we also have the design aspect that really starts that transformation process. And kitchens, which happen to be probably the most popular project type that we do here at New Spaces. And Jamie, who's one of her superpowers, happens to be kitchen design. And this project, like most of our projects, has just a gorgeous kitchen. And I'm gonna let Jamie speak a little bit about what you guys see here and how this kitchen, from a design perspective, looks. Jamie, please.
Absolutely. Our design team at New Spaces is so excited to show you guys this project that we have completed here and going to have on tour. The inspiration for the overall design really began with very clean, sleek, contemporary styling. In the kitchen space, you'll hear we've utilized slab style cabinetry fronts to really keep things really clean and simple, as well as large expanses of white quartz countertops, which really keep the space nice and light and bright. Some fun geometric tile on the backsplash really adds a little bit of fun and texture and a little bit of richness of color too. Not everything can just be plain white, but really a lot of great features in this kitchen space.
And this kitchen, from an orientation standpoint, we're seeing a L-configured center island orientation. And is it fair to say that that probably is one of the more common and the more sought after orientations today? Or is that, how do you see that?
Yes, I would say that this layout kitchen is really relatable to a lot of homeowners, no matter when your home was built. You see layouts like this in newer built homes as well as homes back in even 70s, 80s. So it provides a great work triangle. You've got your sink and your cooking surface close by. You wouldn't know it, but the refrigerator is right here behind you, Bjorn, concealed by our cool, sleek cabinetry. So that work triangle is definitely present, and then the island is clear of any appliances, so tons of great workspace.
And in this particular case, so in Amy's home, Amy is the chef, and one of the requirements was that we needed an island that seats comfortably 4 on the other side, the business side of the kitchen, so to speak. What you can't see here, Amy's captain's chair right now, right here. She is in charge, and she does not have anybody encroaching into her work area. So she's
Gotta keep them out of the kitchen,
exactly, right? And they are all there. The other thing that I think, noteworthy and what we see quite a bit is this detail on the island that we call a waterfall edge. Tell me why we feel that this is a really nice feature. We see it quite often, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the waterfall edge is perfect in a home that has that contemporary styling like this one. The countertop material, seamlessly cascades down to the floor on both ends of the island. So from the other end of the home where you're looking into the kitchen, you get that really gorgeous, symmetrical, sleek look. So really a great feature in this space.
And when we were dealing with quartzite, and any stones, that actual veining that dies into the floor, and that brings us to maybe another feature here, is that if you really look closely, you see that the floor is laid at a diagonal angle.
Yes, that's one of my favorite tricks. I love laying a hardwood floor on an angle. I just feel like it creates this incredible flow into the space, as opposed to making it feel kind of like a bowling alley if your space is long and narrow, or vice versa, if it's too narrow. So this just creates this gorgeous flow. It kind of draws you into the home. It's really beautiful.
Gives it a little bit more interest, and your eye it looks more expansive.
Absolutely.
And less restrictive.
Absolutely.
In terms of appliances, I think worth mentioning, we're dealing with an all Thermador suite. We have a convection speed oven, microwave, and a combi steam convection oven, and also an induction cooktop. And for a lot of people out there, the convection and the induction are things that they're still exploring. In the United States, our penetration for induction cooktops much lesser than we have in the Nordics, for instance. So
we're catching up.
We're catching up. Jamie, talk a little bit about the appliance, the induction, because a lot of our clients, they're kind of weighing those options. What do you see?
So induction cooking is really, to those of us in the Midwest, something that's a little bit newer, becoming more and more popular. I still have a lot of clients who love cooking with gas, which is great, but I tell them always to look into induction as well, because it cooks like gas, but with the efficiency of an electric, and it is more safe as well, and it also is more, it creates a healthier home environment, if you will.
I'm bringing you into Amy's living room here, and there's a reason for that. That reason is right here. We brought in a pretty significant focal point on a wall that did not have a fireplace before. If you take a really close look at the texture of this, you will see that it is an identical look to a massive concrete column, but it's not concrete. What you see here is a framed wall section with drywall and a specialty finish. It's like a mud base with two-tone, three-tone coloring, produced by very dear friend, artist Krista Marie, who was part of this project and worked together with our design team to come up with this look. We're going for a fairly modern industrial look, and the significant part of a fireplace wall like this is that it is an electric fireplace. If we had a gas fireplace, the housing would be much more generous and it would protrude much further into this living room. Because of its electric fireplace component, this is a very small protrusion into the room. Two-story dramatic fireplace wall that's built out of sticks, drywall, and a specialty finish over it. A great way to demonstrate this type of look and not having to go through the expense of what that would be in terms of stone concrete. The other detail that may not be obvious is that a lot of times when we combine TV viewing and the fireplace location, because of not having to divide the attention or focal points, much easier from a furniture layout if we combine them on the same location. This TV location was carefully designed by our design team. You see that it's recessed. And that means that all of the electrical, the cable is housed in the wall. There's no cords hanging anywhere. And the TV sits flush with the face of the fireplace. Again, the design aesthetics in Amy's house, a very modern Asian Nordic palette, and this is speaking exactly to that. It is the small details that our design team thinks about all day, every day, that make all the difference in the outcome. The other feature in this space is a catwalk that we actually cut short. It used to run all the way to the end of this gable end wall, and it had no purpose whatsoever. There was a bookcase and a reading chair located at the end of it. As an idea, maybe fun, Amy never used it. So in order to lighten up and also create another feature here, which is the light feature that drops from the ceiling through the beamwork into that opening, we were able to cut that catwalk back and create a more airy, just a lighter feel, and use the actual beam structure to create contrast in the color palette. A pretty stark and nice contrast to the wall color and the ceiling color that just makes that beam pop together with that light. All the light fixtures in this home carefully selected to all speak the same language and show the style that Amy was going for. So I'm gonna walk you through the third feature of this living room, which is our main staircase. It's a custom iron rail system with horizontal bars that were produced for us by our friends at Anchor Iron, third generation family business. This main staircase is a real showstopper in terms of the visibility. You enter it from the front entry, and that's where you start taking in the home. This staircase spans the catwalk, and it sits right in front of you as you open the door. That is a great visual. What you see and how Ed, our design team, designed this is that what you see is you have our custom iron railing that spans this entire staircase run, and you see that it's attached and installed on what we call in the industry an ankle wall. The ankle wall is in place to provide a partial wall system that you anchor your railing in, and it's really the same height almost as the skirt board that we have on the inside. This linear and horizontal look completely changes the look of a staircase, and that's why this has been so popular in the more modern leaning design aesthetic projects that we do. In this living room, there's a third or fourth feature that is not visible to the eye, and it has to do with a aging in place strategy that we incorporated in Amy's project. The floor where we're standing right now was actually a sunken living room, and we see that in this home. It's a 1987 architect designed modified two-story. The sunken living room was a feature that we see quite often in that vintage. In today's world, where our design teams are trying to bring about continuous flooring, floor heights, and also from an aging in place perspective, the fact that we have a continuous floor height makes it much easier in terms of mobility in that space. So what Ed did is that he basically built a sleeper system, framed up the floor, and almost times out perfectly with the window design. Small features like that make your life easier, more accessible. It speaks to the accessibility, mobility, and the visitability, because now your home is open and visitable for the majority of people with maybe challenges in terms of mobility. We're now standing in Amy's mudroom. And the mudroom transformation of this main level project was one of the key features. What we had here to begin with was a no larger than approximately 6x6 area that connected you to the garage, where you had a little bit of a bench, a little bit of storage, and a closet. What you see in this floor plan is a extremely generous mudroom that actually has great circulation with 2 openings, one from the front entry and one into the hallway right here. Storage, aging in place features with the bench area where you can sit down to put on your shoes or take off your shoes. Very generous storage around the perimeter with tall cabinets. We have the same cabinetry line in the mudroom as we have in our kitchen. It is Quest cabinets, just a tremendous cabinetry brand, a full access cabinetry manufacturers out of Wisconsin. This mudroom also is home to, and Amy is not gonna agree with me, but about 127 pairs of shoes. Amy's a tennis player. That means that her gear, her shoes, rackets, tennis balls, and just sporting equipment in general, together with her significant other, Barry, they are very active. They needed this. And what you see is a flooring that's appointed in a luxury vinyl tile, one of the more higher performing flooring materials on the market today. When we in Minnesota come into our homes, it's good to have what we call a decompression chamber, where all the sand, the grime, and the salt that we bring from outside to trap it here before we walk into the main areas of the home. I want you to explore Amy's mudroom because you see the drop zone, the storage, the seating, and a perfectly laid out cabinetry plan and space plan in a very compact space. This is one of the reasons mudrooms are so important to us today. This is a wrap. What you've seen today is what New Spaces can do with a 1987 modified 2-story floor plan and completely transform it. You've seen mudroom, you've seen aging in place features, you've seen a gourmet kitchen, beverage bar, wine bar, and you've seen creation of a whole that works. Before we did this project, Amy lived in partial area of the home, underutilized front living room and underutilized dining room. And what you see here today is all of those areas working in harmony. We created Amy's Forever Home. And what was really rewarding to our entire team was Amy's daughter got married, and the reception here was in the home, and there was probably over 60 to 70 people that this home could accommodate and create that special day for her family. If you're thinking about remodeling, please visit newspaces.com, see what we can do to help you live better. Thank you.